Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining today. This is Real Talk powered by CMD, and I'm your host, Shauna Griffiths. Today, joining me is my good new friend, Vahid Shababi. Thank you so much for joining.
Thanks, Shauna. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we get started, we should probably give a shout out to Matt Bailey, CEO of one of your companies, Game On Entertainment Technologies. So glad he introduced us.
For sure. No, he's doing a really good job, and we're super grateful for running into him and started having a partnership with him and working on Game On. They got listed about a month ago, and they're doing a really good job in delivering what they promised to investors. And Matt is such a great leader for the company, and we're super grateful for having him.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, now you're sitting as the COO of Victory Square Technologies, but your evolution story is incredible. When you were saying it to me the other day, I was like, I have got to have you on sharing that. So wait a second. So it was I ran to Canada, then from the basketball courts to the boardroom to where you're sitting in your seat that you have today. And in the last year and a half alone, you received a 40 under 40 award in Canada and became a new dad. So talk to us about that. I mean, there's just so much there.
Yeah, I know. It's been a great journey for me, and I feel uh, it's there's a lot that you go through it, and the most important thing for my life in my life is enjoy every moment of it. Like
Yeah.
I don't feel I don't want to feel regretted on anything at any time. I try to appreciate what I have, who I have around when I have them,
Yeah.
and not to worry about what I miss, and build the next thing. So yeah, I moved to Canada with family when I was 17. Had to sit in grade 12. Had no idea how to speak English whatsoever. And I studied. I went to school, and obviously, like basketball. I'm a sport junkie. Like I love sports. Obviously, like I played basketball and real football, soccer. That's I have a crazy love for soccer.
Yeah.
But I play basketball in the University of National team. So I started grade 12, played ball, and at the end of the year, I had invitation from United States to go and go for some camps and play there, which I couldn't go because I didn't have English 12 at the time because of
Mm.
my first year in Canada. Then I had to go play for a college called Langara College. Played 2 years for Langara. Then I was selected for the All-Star team by playing for them. Then I went to university, played for Simon Fraser University. Then so yeah, that was kind of my story in the basketball, and I was playing for Iranian national team along the way. And but the biggest thing is like it's figuring it out what is next. Is
Yeah.
always making a decision. What's next is the hardest decision. Human being, the hardest thing for human being is change. We
It's so
hate
true.
we hate you move from one place to the other, changing jobs, relationships, breaking up, getting into a relationship. Like every single change has a fear in people, and
Yeah.
those who doesn't they go for it, they always gain better things, because we cannot experience anything better unless we actually make a change.
Yeah.
So that was a hard decision for me to not play basketball at age of
Mm.
27, 28 in that level, even though I had invitation from Europe, in B leagues to play, or go back home and play in the A League in Middle East and in Asia. But then the business that I have was growing so fast that I decided to stay and focus on the business
Yeah.
than play ball. And as funny as it sounds, I couldn't watch a basketball game for 2 3 years because it was really breaking my heart to watching that and making wanting me to play. And
Yeah.
everyone's asking, so why didn't you play for fun? Because nobody wanted to play with me. I take it way too serious. Like every time I got to the court, I couldn't lose. I was a sore loser, and I taking it too serious that people
Yeah.
hate playing with me. So but joke aside, like then I went through my business life. I'll be more than happy to share that, and I am where I am. Super grateful for everyone who believed in me and supported me along the ways. And then obviously, as you said, like again, this last year I was picked for 40 under 40,
Yeah.
and everything aside, I've been selected for All-Star team, best player in the country. Had some success in the business. It's sports. But one thing that you mentioned, like becoming a dad, was the game changer for me. And I feel like everything aside, this one thing was one main big thing for me that has a huge impact in my life in a better way. That I'm super grateful every moment of that. And again, I am enjoying it. So sorry, that was a summary of my life. I'll be more than happy to get into anything that you want me to get into.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so funny because what you were talking about earlier about the change that you had to make from basketball to the boardroom, I often think about and talk about that identity crisis that I went through. And I similarly had to like stop watching the game for a little while.
Yeah.
But I was going to ask you what was harder for you, the change or identity change from to the boardroom or to dad life? But it sounds like it's been really great.
It all depends how you look at the change, right? Like, so for me has always been like, I never have a plan B in my life. So there is no reason for me not to be able to do what I want to do. So if I want to get from point A to point B, I don't want to have a plan B that if I don't get to point B, but I will have a plan B if my first plan doesn't work to get to the point B.
Right.
So anything that I go through it, I try to enjoy the challenges, and I challenge myself to go higher and better. And sometimes, like, being stubborn, I'm more stubborn with myself than anyone else.
Yeah.
Although some viewers may not agree with me that I'm not the most stubborn with myself rather than them, but it's just, if I feel like if you want something, there is no reason for you not to be able to get the obstacles that people talk about it. Those are excuses. You can use that as an excuse. If you want it, pay the price, get to it, and enjoy the success. Everyone, like, again, there is a famous quote that they're saying, like, everyone wants to be healthy, but they don't want to do what healthy people does. Everyone wants to be wealthy, but they don't want to do what wealthy people do. So at the end of the day, everything has a price. That price, if you are willing to pay, you're gonna enjoy. You can enjoy the journey. You can just say, hey, I want to be that person, without knowing what that person has gone through in order to get there. And I feel
that is so true.
Life is a process, it's not an event. We have to enjoy every moment of it and try to go for higher. So I always tell people around me that always be happy, never be satisfied. Things may go wrong, be happy with what you got, but never be satisfied, because there's another step after this step. And if you want to just feel too comfortable, there is not such a thing as being on stall for people. You either go up or you go down. If you're not going up, I guarantee you're going down. So you have to make sure you always push yourself to go out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, absolutely. Love those philosophies. And we're going to get back to that a little bit later when I ask you about some leadership stuff. But I want to know, like, how did you come to Victory Square Technology? And like, you're talking about playing at the top of your game every day. And like, what motivates you to do that? And how do you keep going? I mean, you're in a pressure situation, very high profile, like, again, give us a little bit of a look inside of that.
So how I got into the Victory Square. So before Victory Square, after I had an exit in my business, I always worked with some smaller businesses. My passion is growth, revenue growth, sales. I was part of another company, partnering another company called Perfect Mind, that I was focusing on the sales side of it. And we saw 500 to 700% growth in revenue and sales. When we got to that point, I felt like, again, when things become, I'm not a person that can maintain things. I hate maintenance. I always want to grow. So I felt like we're getting to the maintenance mode, and I need to make a change. With all the love that I have for the company, for the people around it, and customers and all that, I had to again make a change for something better, even though, again, comes with the stress and you're going out of your comfort zone. Then I met Shafeen through two friends of mine that I helped them with their business, and the other one, originally she wanted to work with me, which I rejected it, her application, but we stayed in touch, and I helped her to become the VP of sales for what she does right now, and she's amazing. She's really one of those strong, go-getter, independent women that's super smart and doing an amazing job. And she's actually kicking some serious ass, and I really enjoy seeing that when she does that. So I met Shafeen through them, and when I met Shafeen, we went for a coffee, and they said, hey, your personality is very similar. Then in the conversation that we had, he helped me to, he and also another partner at VSD, Peter, they helped me to, look at, 2 or 3 of the portfolio companies that they had growth issues. And I worked with them for about a month, and they all seen like 200-300% growth in sales. Then, I had I remember at that point, I had 13 job offers that from different companies, larger companies to smaller companies, but I'm not a person that I can work in a large enterprise companies. I think I'm not professional enough to work in those companies. I need to make a change and work with, I can look at people at transactions. I have to look, work with people.
Right.
So then, after that experience with that, Shafin asked me to join VSD and partner me at VSD. And again, since then, been working at Victory Square, being a shareholder and working in a management team, and been such a great experience working with not only the people in VSD, but also all the other portfolio company people such as Matt or other CEOs, smart people that in every conversation you can learn something from them, or you can guide them to do something bigger. That's the best feeling. I feel everyone in this world has a thing that they're good at and they're passionate about it. And I feel my passion is empowering people to their best. Going back that you said, with all this stress, I don't look at the stress. I feel if you have a mission and a passion in life and a purpose, you're going to go through this for a reason. We're not going to every meeting to just be stressed every day that we go home. That's something that I remind people. We don't live to work, we work to live. So, if you have a purpose, that your work is gonna be, your fuel to enjoy that purpose. Even though if you work 24 hours a day, but you have a higher purpose and you're not gonna give up on small things that happens at work that people give up on those because you're thinking about your purpose. So looking at that purpose and the passion that I have, and again, again, call it a little bit selfish, but I don't get involved or I don't do something that I don't enjoy. I have to enjoy what I do. It doesn't matter how much money I can make. Doesn't matter if it's a title. None of those matters. It's just the people and the passion. If it helps me to be a better person and enjoy my life, that's what I sign up for.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So with VST, you guys seem like you have your hands on the pulse of the hottest, but also the most urgent things. So from gaming and sports and cybersecurity and even the medical side, that is really runs the gamut. Not that, it's not all just one area, but again, I think it's when you talk about that purpose piece, it is those passion points and that global impact you guys are making. So we spoke a little bit earlier about Matt and Game On, and I'm curious, since that's in the gaming prediction gaming space, what drove you to make that call?
So at Victory Square, how always people say, I wish I would have invested in Google before Google become Google, or I wish I invested in Facebook before Facebook on Facebook. So at Victory Square, we invest, acquire, or build businesses that we feel is going to be the next generation service or tech. So we want to be ready for the wave before the wave comes. We're in different industries, from gaming, online gambling, dating, cybersecurity, SaaS model, digital health, so insurance tech, creator economy, renewable energy. So we look at everything and we try to figure out what's next. And the biggest factor for us as people, based on my experience, the biggest factor in the business to succeed is around people. It's not about product, it's not about the service, it's about the people. So right now we have 20 plus portfolio company that we have ownership of, 10, 15% to 100%. We work with them, we scale the business with them, help them with, if they need financing, if they need help and the knowledge from, growth, operation, legal, whatever that will be, and then help them with some acquisitions. And then, we spin them out, they go public and become liquid for the company and our investors. Victory Square is a public company itself. And we have a good group of shareholders that have been supporting us. Now, from the Game On perspective, we had a company called V2 Games, and they were focusing in games from 3 years ago. And the company was growing and investing in games, tier one games, for when it goes out, we would have got the loyalty fee back. Games such as Hello Kitty, Pacific Bridge War, or even the Men in Black International. These are the games that we invested in. Then we wanted to go through the spin-out process. We wanted to make sure there's a scalable tech and a scalable team inside that. That's where we met Matt. And we were super impressed with him as an individual and the team around him, the advisors that he has. And that's how we met. The board he has, and also the tech that he has. So we acquired a Game On app under V2 Games. And that was the entity that went public in June and been doing a great job since then.
Got it. So the complete opposite of that is life-saving medical technology. And am I right? You guys were involved in the development, or in a company that came up with the development of a rapid test for COVID. I mean, talk about quick action there. Talk about that a little bit.
So we invested in that business about 3 years ago. It's about thinking what is coming next, right?
Yeah.
So we were expecting the fourth revolution in tech and industries that it's gonna change the people's behaviors. But I felt COVID expedited that revolution to be done quickly. So we see some of that results. Like, for example, if 2.5, 3 years ago, somebody would have told you your doctor is going to FaceTime you, you probably wouldn't believe that's going to happen. There is no other way right now. So that's the effect of the COVID, that that change has happened. If people going toward the e-commerce, the usage has grown so much. Online universities, and now we're going to see, we're going to see some cybersecurity issues that is coming because everyone's working from home. So we try to figure out what is next. So we invested in Victory Square Health about 3 years ago, and then we watching a company from Brazil, because we were looking at everywhere around the world. It's not only US or Canada. That we've been in touch with them for past 1.5 or 2 years. Then we acquired that business last February, right before the COVID, and then they had they have a rapid test in COVID, and they have a few other tests. But again, we're looking at the bigger plan with them, because we acquired also another company called Hydrate, that they're doing the digital health, and also they do at-home services for Botox, for IV Hydrate, or any of that in US. They had the tech, they had the licenses. Now, by having another company in Brazil, we're replicating the same business in Brazil as well. So we're always trying to see what is next. So right now, if you see gaming is hot, we invested 3 years ago. Augmented reality, virtual reality is hot right now. We invested 3.5 years ago. Blockchain 4 years ago. So these are the things that we try to see ahead of the time. So when the wave comes, we're not just starting a business. It's a business that has footprint, customers, scalable product offering, and is ready to actually go out and do well.
That's incredible. Can you give us a sneak peek into any of the trends that you're spotting now, other than the ones that you mentioned?
So again, we see creator economy is growing because what COVID happened, like people are trying to be independent businesses, from the influencers to whatever that you can think of. Renewable energy, plant-based food. These are may not be even by choice, like the way that the population is growing and what is happening. People is going to use that. Digital health, I feel, healthcare from the tech perspective was so outdated, and there was a shell around it that COVID broke it. Now things are moving up. Like, we see a lot of people are focusing on digital health and, having, telehealth, but nobody's talking about having a telehealth for pets. Now we're focusing on that, because again, the pet owner like yourself, they would love to have the service at their convenience. They can connect with the vets and they can look at it. So these are the trends that we see is coming, and we're trying to be ahead of the game and either invest or acquire or build business around those industries.
Okay, got it. Well, while you're doling out some of the trends that we'll take as advice, I'm also to get to the leadership part, because I want to get some of your tips. But before I even get to the tips, I love this. I read that you said this, and then you said this when we were messaging the other day about it's either hell yes or no. So talk to us about that and how it influences your leadership style.
I feel that's my rule in anything in life.
I love it.
Nothing can be like, okay, it may work. No, if it's may work, you're going to give up. If you face with it, or it's not worth it for you to spend too much time to find something that is a hell yeah. So I always say that tell to the team, it's either a hell yeah, it's a straight no. So it can be opportunity, it can be relationship, it can be even team building. Because if you are not that sure from the get-go, when you're faced with the hurdles and issues, then you're going to start giving up. So again, that has been my philosophy in life in anything. If it's either a hell yeah or it's a no, it's not worth my time to go through it. But if it's a hell yeah, doesn't matter what it comes, we have
Yeah.
to face with it. We
And
can't finish something undone. You can't leave it undone. You have to finish the task. So that's the same thing for the team. When when we want to hire the team, I don't feel there's a good or bad. It's just a match. It's like a dating.
yep.
It's for, if you invest in a company or hire someone or you work with someone, it's like dating. You see two amazing people. They're
Yeah.
great friends, great individuals, but they can be a good couple. There is
Right.
no good or bad or wrong, right or wrong. That's the same thing for team building. Like if somebody have the same, way of thinking, then you can be a good team. Otherwise, don't hire people just because, hey, he's very skillful, or she's very smart. No, like you have to make sure to bond, because again,
Yeah.
we need to fight this together.
Mhm.
And if you want someone for a short term, you're not, even though if that person may stay for a short term, you shouldn't think of that. You think of someone that, when I'm going to the war, I'm
Yeah.
gonna go with war with people that I'm gonna fight for them, and they're gonna fight for me. It's not one-way relationship. Doesn't matter if you're a VP or a CEO or a manager, or a basic junior entry point. That should be the mentality for the team. Otherwise, I don't feel it's a team. It's just the people going to work and to do their tasks, and no one believing what they do.
Yeah. Yeah. So great. As you're talking, it just makes me think like about keeping that passion is so infectious, and keeping that vision out in front of people is, I think, so important to helping to lead, and like you said, you're going to go to war with the people. So you better say hell yeah to them.
It's like there are like some common questions that first of all, like I don't believe in interviews. I like every time if I want to have an interview, I either try to have a coffee or just go for a walk as much as I
Yeah.
can, because you want to see the real face of the person.
Mhm.
And don't be fake. Like from the person
Yeah.
who wants to hire, don't be fake that professional person that you're not a professional. Be
Yeah.
yourself, because at
Yeah.
the end
Yeah.
of the day, you two should be able to see, like, again, like even if you want to get a job, like don't think like the person interviewing you is absolute correct about everything. No,
Yeah.
everyone has weaknesses. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you should be able to work with that weakness. Maybe that person is loud, is whatever that is, or you should be able to communicate all that. So there are some common questions that I always ask. One is, if I call one of your friends, one of your best friends, how would they describe you in 3 words? Because that's important for me. That's a
Okay.
fun person, if somebody comes and say, hey, I'm fun, this, I love that, because I know that person is real, right?
Yeah.
I want to see how they think of themselves. And the other question that it's important is, what's your bigger goal? Don't talk to me about like I want to be a boss or grow, like those cliche questions.
Mhm.
No, tell me what's your goal in a year or 2 years or 3 years, in a way that you want to be as a person, and
Right.
how do you think this job and me can
Ah,
help you to get there? Because
got
at
it.
the end of the day, if this job doesn't help you to get to your bigger goal, there is not in it, and there is not much enough in it for you. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
if I offer you the word from the money perspective, your heart is not going to be in it. And if I know
Mhm.
what your goal is, then I can plan based on that for
Yeah.
you to
To help
get
you
there.
get
Because
there.
if I can't do it, why not? Like at the end of the day, there is nothing more enjoyable that you see your team members are growing and your team members are going up and higher. And again, you want to work with people that are smarter than you. If you work with the smarter than people that are smarter than you, don't tell them what to do. Let them make mistakes. They're going to figure it out. Like if I'm hiring someone, doesn't matter how junior they are, and he or she is shining at a specific things, I feel stupid to tell them what to do. As long as they deliver the results, let them make mistakes, but don't come and cry and say, I made a mistake. Figure it out how to resolve that. Mistakes are only mistakes if you repeat them. Otherwise, it's a learning process.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. These are great. I love the philosophies you're sharing and great tips. Wait, so what's your third? You gave us the first two questions. What's the third question?
There are a bunch of nonsense questions that I always ask, but like I'm a sports junkie. I have to make
Oh
sure
yeah.
that I can work with people that that they're into it. So the first question is, who's your team? So I just want to see, like,
I
if
failed
he
that
or
when I
she can
said
handle the
very
trash
good.
talk or not. Yeah.
No, that's great. That's great. Okay. So you hit so many of my questions. Awesome, awesome time here. Thank you so much. You gave great leadership tips, and it was really great to hear some of your sayings and philosophies, and great to hear the story, your evolution, and it's just incredible. And I really appreciate you sharing your story. But before you go, I also learned that you're a absolute sneakerhead, or just shoes in general. So give us your favorite shoe.
Oh, so and I think my son's got that from me. Only he's 19 months old, but like he has to pick up his shoes every day, and we have to go through that. Yeah, no, I'm a shoe guy. Like it's so funny. Like I always pick something that people doesn't expect
Okay.
to do, but I think it goes back to your mood. Like that's
Yeah.
something that I'm not proud of it, but it's something that has been with me, and part of my student loan actually has gone through that.
Okay, but what's your favorite shoe? And then I'm gonna let you go, get back to it.
It all depends though. Like if you're talking about the sneakers,
Okay,
like
favorite sneaker.
when I was growing up, I was a Air Jordan guy. Like because I have a
Okay.
massive respect for Michael Jordan, and again, I don't
Me
want to get
too.
to that conversation who's the goat, but he's the goat,
Oh, he's the GOAT
and
for sure. I always wanted
he's
to
the
pair
goat by
up
far.
Jordans.
But like when I was growing up, maybe it was part of it because I loved the way that he played and his personality. And so I've been always in love with Air Jordans, and
Okay.
that's been my shoes for a very long time.
Okay. Well, me too. So, all right. Well, I'm gonna let you go and get at it today. Thanks again so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Sean. I appreciate it.